Warning: Kingdom Death contains mature content, be it in its story themes and or its images. While while videos involving Kingdom Death Monster may not contain specifically mature content in them, the game does, and thus, if these videos generate interest for it, you've been warned that that is what it will lead to. If this does not bother you, please enjoy the video. Thank you.
Hello everyone, and welcome to this board game component overview for Kingdom Death Monster. I know it's really hard to tell that there's actually an image on there. This is the general components overview video, where I go over the in detail what the components are within the game itself. This is typically what you would see in an unboxing video. For the most part, but I'm going to actually cover bit by bit what they are, and in later videos go into more detail about them, such as the individual cards or effects, including majority of this rulebook, which, for this game, that really means something. At some point, I will go over all the hunt events. But with that said, first off, there is obviously this rulebook, which is a hardbound rulebook with two tassel bookmarks built in. And it is mostly colored, with the exception of the comic strip all the way in the back, and is pretty much also an art book. It has over 200 pages of rules, art, and all sorts of different kind of things. It has, but majority of the rules are pretty much the first third of the game, and then everything else is specific events that can happen. After that, we have the 19 sprues that make up the various models, including 8 preset survivors, the 4 starting, the 2 intimacy models, and the young and old survivor that were added at 1.5. The 9 preset monsters, which are the various monsters you fight throughout the game, and 28 the ability to make up to 28 customizable figures. I personally will be magnetizing mine so that they're never static, but you do what you want with yours. In the future, they might release more armor set sprues so that you can make multiples. I know the original Kickstarter, or at certain goals, made it so that you would get double the armor kit sprues, so that you can make, basically, here's the preset one, preset, and then here's the customizable ones. This was also before magnetization was very popular, or in general, for models. And was there, but it's still very difficult. And now we'll continue to, well, the more close-up things.
Here we have the showdown board, where all the showdowns take place. And next to it, on top, we have the monster control board, here to where you put the various cards and tokens for monsters. Next up, we have the survivor gear grids, with the basic abilities for the survivors and a place to put all of the gear itself. Then, the settlement board, where you can put all the standard size cards and have all the different staff reminders. And on the other side of that is this hunt board, where you hunt the monster itself. Then we have the settlement record sheet and survivor record sheet with 25 and 50 sheets respectively, and the settlement sheet is double-sided. Next up, we have the 21 settlement cards, including the first day, which is the only one you don't have a chance of redrawing, and 20 others. This deck is what you draw from at the beginning of every Lantern year, and it expands with various expansions, usually just specific to that expansion of what it adds. After that, we have the 13 settlement locations that come with the base game. Starting with the Lantern Horde, these are all the various locations you will use throughout the game, well, within your settlement to do things. Majority of innovations get used here. 5 examples of what you can use innovations on, which are the asterisks, are on the Lantern Horde itself, but things like the Bonesmith show how you would make things, be it the item on the left with affinities showing, and the requirements on the right. Next, we get to the various 631 standard size cards, majority of which are monster cards. For example, these are all the White Lion cards. All the monsters have their own unique backing, that being the White Lion, and these being the others.
as well as their own unique image for their divider, such as this one for the White Lion. Then a standard card, or a standard action card with their basic stats, their instinct, and their basic action. If they are a huntable monster, which is the White Lion, Screaming Antelope, and Phoenix, they come with resources, specific hunt events, but also, on top of all the others, having their own hit location deck and their own AI deck. On top of that, there are the various types of unique, or different categories of cards, with special hunt events, regular hunt events, innovations, basic resources, strange resources, weapon proficiencies and masteries, which are double-sided, with specialization on one side, mastery on the other. The armor sets, which are double-sided, but are the same thing on each side, just with a different graphic for male and female. Vermin, terrain, fighting arts, secret fighting arts, and disorders. Also, in this size, we have the various generic cards, be it the 1 through 4 cards, which can be used for various different purposes, or the 2 generic monster cards that you use for the level 3 version, level 3 or higher version, and the Indomitable will be just a buff they all get, or life, which is bonus life on top of their hit location deck. With this comes 20 different dividers, like the White Lion one that I showed off, and then this one, like the basic hunt events, being for all the others just the name. Also, with cards, we have the 369 gear cards, including various things from the different crafting sites, which all have a G on the back with their location, and the starting gear, and rear gear, which all come from either the start of the game or very specific places. All of which are single-sided with the exception of one, and are pretty much different for the most part, with the armor slot, armor icon for armor, the weapon line for weapons, and neither for everything else. And then there's also 14 various dividers for these as well. Single-sided as well, no imagery, unlike with the monsters. Now, of course, King of Death is based on dice rolls. This is what your fate is left up to. The game comes with 11 dice, 7 10d6s, 5 of which are white on black, with the lantern being there for the 10 instead of a 0 like there would be for a normal d10. And then, with that also being the same for the other two, we have a black on white, which is usually used for the 100s for the rolling on the hunt table, and this orange clearish die that I'm not entirely sure what it's designated for. I think I know, but that's something late game. And then we also have 4 hit location dice. The hit locations are, there are 5 locations that can be rolled on here, because while there are 6 locations, one of them can't be rolled, and body is on here twice, along with head, hands, feet, and waist. If you're ever to get an extra set of dice, by the way, you will get 4 new dice for hit locations. One of them will be alternate color, like the D10 is for the others, and you'll get 4 normal dice plus 1 alternate location. Now, for the field manipulation, we have all the various 31 pieces of terrain, including the Arcanthus debris, the 1 bug patch, various columns, fallen over pillars, the tall grass, the 1 dead monster, the dead survivors, the large stone faces, and of course, last but not least, the nightmare tree. Along with those, we also have 3 other large cardboard punch-outs made in the similar vein. We have a summary of the various steps on the settlement phase, so you don't have just the settlement board itself. The details of the priority token being a different token, and the monster controller board itself, reminding you how it works, and so you know where it is. Speaking of the monster priority token, last up we have tokens in general. To start with, we have the 8 different stat tokens, which are temporary modifiers for the survivors. Also, well, temporary modifiers for the monsters. We have the 7 that can be used by monsters and survivors, and then also damage, which is only for the monsters. There are 8 of each of these, and they are both double-sided with white for positive and black for negative. Also, we have 5 of each of these colored tokens. I believe they're intended to correspond with each of the 4 survivors. They're all colored on one side, including gray, hey, and each of them are black on the other. There's also 10 Endeavor tokens, which are the asterisks on one side, black on the other, so you can just flip them instead of pushing them out of the way. And then double-sided Screaming Head tokens, that I believe are just referred to as Screaming tokens, and I think they're only used for a special hunt event, specific hunt event with the Screaming Antelope. And lastly, we have the priority token itself, which is only single-sided and is intended to be put under the model that has it in order to be reminded, because the large cutout is actually the priority token. For what appear to be reroll tokens that are single-sided, I believe these are associated with the orange dice or something else, late game. And then an odd number of bleeding tokens, 19. These are the various tokens used to track how much, well, bleeding your character has before you bleed out, if at all.
Thank you for watching. I hope this video was helpful. Well, I do want to say, this is probably going to be my only non-spoiler Kingdom Death video from this point on. Not to say that there won't be others, and the paint videos for the most part are paint videos, not component videos or story videos, but I will be spoiling a lot of things, and don't worry, I will give warnings, but pretty much assume anything after the prologue and the first year settlement is going to be spoilers, because it's just going to be, this is what's possible. But regardless, if this video was helpful, feel free to press the like button. If you think somebody else, it will be helpful for someone else, or they'll enjoy it, feel free to share it. Also, don't feel bad if you want to give it a dislike, but please try to leave a constructive comment as to why. Assuming that reason isn't, I want to see more detail. As I said, there will be more videos for that. I will be going over the full game, every last bit of it, just as I did with the Dark Souls board game. Also, if you want to, feel free to comment in general. If you want to ask for specific things if I've missed them in later videos, or specific things that you think I won't cover, go for it. I will try to cover everything, but there's certain things I might overlook. Who knows? And also, if you want to see more like this, be it more board game overview videos, unboxing videos, or painting videos, feel free to subscribe. Regardless, thank you for watching and have a wonderful day. Bye-bye!